Attention listeners across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston, do we have a pube problem? If so, our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation and brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Kick your pubes to the next planet with the Performance Package 4.0. The orbits in your pants will feel like you're in zero gravity when you use the best tools for the job from the leaders in male grooming. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get your rocket ready for takeoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code TAGS, TAGS. What is going on? You are watching, listening to Tags Live. Talk about gay sex, the live version. I'm your host, Steve V. This is 289 alongside Kodi Maurice Doggette. How are you?
Hello, darling. I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good on this thunderous night, Wednesday
Thunderous
here.
Thursday. Wait, it's Wednesday. Okay. Thunderous
Yeah.
Wednesday. Yes.
When this comes out Thursday, Wednesday night we
Yes.
record this, and summer in New York. It's all good. Cheers to you, Kodi. How are you? How is everything?
Cheers. Everything's going well. Blessed and highly favored over here, darling. Just, working and streaming with you. I was on the show on Monday. We had so much fun. And
absolutely.
And now we're here.
Exactly. And I'm excited about this weekend coming up. There's a group here in New York City, and they're called MMX NYC, Male Massage Exchange.
Even better.
And I've gone to some of their events here in the city, and you can learn things like Tantra. Like we had Will Tantra on before.
Yes.
I had Jeff, the head of MMX, on as a guest a while back.
Okay.
They do things. They'll do like a lot of connection and courses here in New York City, but then they also do things in Fire Island. And so I'm going to be volunteering this Saturday. I'm going to stay over Friday night, volunteer for their pool party.
Oh,
That's a jockstrap pool party. That's going to be a lot of fun. Shout out if you are going to this party. Say hi to me. I will be kind of working the party, but I'm going to
give massages, Queen.
No, I just thought it'd be fun.
I want one. I need one.
They'll be happening there, and it gets frisky as the night as the day goes on. It's kind of like a 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. party at this house. You can go to mmxnyc.com to find out about it if you happen to be in town in Fire Island. It should be a lot of fun. But the good news is I get to go out Friday night, and there's a famous jockstrap party happening in Cherry Grove.
I love it.
That I'm going to be
favorite parties.
Yeah. So I feel like for research purposes, I have to go take advantage of this, and
that was always a good excuse, right?
Yeah, I'm all for this. This is going to be a lot of fun. So I cannot wait for that. And like I said, shout out if you happen to be out there. Well, we couldn't help but talk about, we got to get into our hot sex topics on this Tags Live episode. And as much as we talk and love Lil Nas X, and we keep talking about just how much he keeps pushing the needle as a gay black male who is in the top 10 with his music, but he just overtook DaBaby, who we also were talking about. If you remember DaBaby, we were talking about how DaBaby, for those that weren't in the know, just a quick recap, DaBaby was in a concert about a month ago, or a few weeks ago, where he literally told people to raise your phone up and light your phone if you don't have AIDS, and light your phone if you're not and if you're not in the parking lot sucking dick, if you're not a guy sucking dick, which was so A, homophobic, B, miseducation. People came after him like Madonna, everybody, Dua Lipa, Elton John.
Dua Lipa, that's my girl.
Yeah, on. And he recently just deleted that comment. He finally apologized, but it sounded like a PR press apology.
He doesn't
And
even talk
so
like that.
I know, and he just deleted it from his Twitter account, which some are speculating that he's really not that sorry. Well, in the name of our two people that we've been talking about, Lil Nas just overtook DaBaby to become the male rapper with the most monthly Spotify listen. Any news about Lil Nas? According to this, QWERTY, continuing success always makes us happy, but this latest achievement is particularly satisfying. Yesterday, the gay rapper surged ahead of DaBaby in Spotify's most monthly listeners. And as of August 10th, Lil Nas X has 52.1 million monthly listeners, while DaBaby has 51.88 million monthly listeners. This makes Lil Nas X the male rapper with the most monthly listeners at the current moment.
Nice.
And he's ahead of Drake, who has 51.39, and Post Malone at 49.69. And Kodi, you know what there's a lot of cool things about this, but the one thing that really grabbed me is he hasn't even released his album yet. So we're literally talking about the two singles that came out that we all know about. He still has yet to drop the album. So he's getting all these with only two singles out there.
That is amazing. I'm so happy for him. Congratulations, Lil Nas X. It made me smile with such glee when I read this story. And it's really just a big FU to the dumbass and to T.I.
who T.I. referenced that,
Yeah, because T.I. came out in defense of DaBaby. And it just highlights how people are so welcoming to queer artists and how much people love Lil Nas X. So I am here for it.
And he hasn't even dropped the freaking album.
That's amazing to me.
I feel like there's way more surprises coming out of Lil Nas X. I feel like I bet, mark my words here on this show, that Super Bowl 2022, Lil Nas X. I'm just saying.
Okay,
but I don't know though.
I don't know if they're going to do that.
It would for so many reasons, but I feel like who knows? I know that they apologized finally, or somebody apologized from CBS to Janet Jackson.
Well, then maybe I can watch it now.
So maybe, but at any rate, I love his streak right now. I love where we're at with Lil Nas X, and I love that he topped DaBaby. And we'll leave it at that. All right. Well, on this show that we ask you to ask us for solicited sex or relationship advice. And, we were going to include this one the other day on TAGSPodcast episode 288, but I refrained from it because I just wasn't sure if I had enough information. And I know, Kodi, you offline were like, I don't know if I even believe this person.
Really, Steve? You gonna put me out there?
Well, no. Well, I don't know. But to your point, I didn't really believe it either. And I asked this person, we scrapped it, but we're gonna attempt to give some advice to this listener because he finally did respond a little bit more. And we're going to go with what knowledge we have of the situation. And here we go. So he writes, hey, I'm a bottom boy that loves my girlfriend, but every so often I want to be a slut for black guys. I don't want to be in a relationship with a guy. I don't want to be in a relationship with a guy. What do I do? So that's what he initially first wrote to us.
Okay.
And we left it as a cliffhanger. But after asking a few more questions, I asked the question, does your girlfriend know? Are you open? He replied, she knows. I like to suck dick and get fucked, but she doesn't let me, he writes, laughing out loud. After, he writes, she caught me writing BBC, bareback cock, last year. She said if she caught me getting fucked again, she would tell everyone. That's intense, just right off the bat, right?
And I thought BBC was big black cock, which we don't.
Oh, sorry, maybe that's what it is.
Anymore. No, we don't say that anymore. That's not cool.
Oh well, do you think he's maybe?
I think he's talking about big black cock,
and we don't say that anymore.
No, that's not cool.
Okay, so first, first educate us on that, because I don't use that acronym and I can understand probably why,
Yeah,
but let's just educate on that.
because it reduces black men to just their penis, which they are so much more than we are, so much more than that. And it's just, it fetishizes black men. And we don't, and a lot of times we don't refer to white men only by their penises. So why do we refer to black men like in that fashion? So
You know what? I love that you said that and you clarified that. I didn't know the acronym. I know I can tell you when I first read the initial statement, I'm a bi bottom boy that loves my girlfriend, but every so often I want to be a slut for black guys. Okay. And
okay.
I don't, and the fact that he said BBC, it kind of made me think that maybe he's caught up in that one fetish. And based on what you just stated, is it sounding like he's fetishizing it?
A little
But
bit.
on the other hand, you can like what you like. So just tell me that.
Exactly. It really just depends. I would have to talk to him more, of course, because it really just depends on where his mindset is. And from what I've gleaned from what he said, it seems a little bit on the fetishization experience. But I would like to pick his brain to see how much he has explored. I was going to mention this in my advice section, how much he has explored relationships with men, because I don't know if you want me to go into this right now.
Go into it.
Because he mentions that he is worried about being exposed by his girlfriend. So for me, that carries a lot of shame, and it feels like he's putting a lot of shame on the fact that he is attracted to men. So that would cause him not to want to explore with men and think that it is a shameful thing, basically.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about this offline. We don't have enough information, but we had a little bit more, and I appreciate this listener for writing a little, for answering a little bit more.
Yes.
That he did. So thank you for that and sharing, because I know this can be, you're being vulnerable.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for that. The one thing that struck me right off the bat was just, if you're in a situation and you like something and you also like your girlfriend, the situation that you're in, but that your girlfriend isn't on board with that, I feel like you need to then make a decision.
Yes.
Because or you need to work on the discussion with her on how this can be somewhat acceptable. If it's a deal breaker, in other words, it's sounding like you love her, yes, but you like this. She doesn't like this. In an A, B, C situation, it's not adding up, and it's only going to end poorly, like her catching you again. And you don't want to get yourself in a situation where she finds you again, which was probably traumatic for her in many ways. So you gotta decide what's more important, and not to just be, you got to make a decision. Sometimes you can't always have your cake and eat it too. What's more important to you? Do you feel like you need to explore this a little bit more and save her? Or is it a situation where not having, because I could imagine the trauma of catching anybody, much less with somebody else, catching your partner in a sexual situation you didn't know. That's traumatic.
It definitely is.
You gotta.
I would say that there are people out there that he will be able to be completely 100% honest about what he likes and what he wants from his sexual experiences and his sexuality, that will totally accept him. So I would welcome him. I would want him to explore. And I say it's reading to me kind of like a toxic situation, because he's not being truthful with her. He's not being 100% truthful with her, and she is threatening to expose him. So that just screams toxic to me. So I would say there's lots of fish in the sea. There are lots of people out there that will be open to him exploring his sexuality. So I first try being honest with your partner right now and see where that leads you. And if you don't think you can live with that situation, then I say explore other options, basically.
That's exactly where I was going to say too, is
Yeah.
with not knowing enough and how much you've had that conversation or not, try being honest on, this is something that I am into, and would you indulge me in this? And maybe then ask her, is there something, depending on how long they've been in, like, is there something you would want to, is there a way we can make this work?
Yeah.
And if it's a deal breaker, you can still love somebody, but maybe it's time to separate. And
Yeah.
like you said, explore some of this side of yourself. And like you said, there are people out there that will be open to a bisexual situation or polyamory, like we talk on this show.
Polyamory. There's so many facets and there's so many degrees to having an open relationship that you do what's comfortable for you. So explore as much as possible. That's what life is all about, right? Exploration and seeing what fits for you.
Absolutely. I'm on my exploratory summer 2021.
And
so
get it. Hot vax summer in the
I cannot wait.
Are you vaxxed and waxed?
I am vaxxed and waxed.
Nice.
And we've got more. We've got another advice column moment that we're going to give you a little bit later, but it's time to get into the segment that we've taken a little break from for a minute, called Vulnerable Voices. And this week we are talking about FOMO, fear of missing out, in case you didn't know that, and how it can relate to things in the community and in our sex lives, as things are opening up. Just seeing, my phone has been blowing up with so many parties going on, like big parties, but should I go to this party? Should I not go to this party? And I think my first question before we really get into it is, do you think that FOMO is more heightened in our community than other communities? Or is it just that I live in this community? What's your thoughts on that?
I think across the board, everybody's chomping at the bit to get out and be social and to have all the experiences that they've been missing out on in the past year due to COVID and having to be in the house. So I don't think it's just our community that's going through this. I think that we see it a lot more because it's our community, of course. And I think that the gays like to party a little bit more, just a little bit more.
A little
bit. Just a tip. More than other communities. But yeah, I think everybody's in the same space right now.
Yeah, I would agree that everybody's chomping at the bit. I do think our community has just a little bit more opportunities. Like I said, my phone's been blowing up. It seems like there's so many choices. First of all, with the parties situation, there's so many large parties. And for a minute, I had some people saying, oh, yeah, are you going to this party? You're going to that party. And I just felt like I wasn't ready yet. I'm going out. I'm having a good time. I'm not ready. I did a lot of those big parties for so long. To me right now, they're hyper energized and they cost a lot of money. And I just think I'm trying to be a little more frugal right now and make wiser. I'm trying new things. This is the summer right now where I don't think I have a lot of FOMO, because I'm trying new things. I'm hanging out with new friends. I went to the nude beach with a sort of an acquaintance friend earlier in the summer. We talked about it on this show. I'm doing this MMX party I'm volunteering in Fire Island, but I get to go a day earlier. Nice. And I feel like I'm going to have experiences. So I'm kind of less about FOMO in our community right now, because I feel like the pandemic, the lockdown, for me personally, helped me weed out a lot of people that maybe weren't as conducive to me anymore.
Yeah.
And find some special relationships and be more exploratory. So if
Yeah.
you remember on the show, I talked a lot about riding my bike around the city more and learning new things. And I'm in this exploratory phase. So for me, being in an exploratory phase,
Hmm.
I don't have a lot of FOMO, um, because I'm too busy trying pushing myself to try new things, but not pushing myself to try things that everybody's telling me I need to be at.
Yeah. You're meeting your socialization needs in other ways.
Yes,
I wish
absolutely.
I wish I was on the same page as you are, because I've been going to a couple parties. My boyfriend is he loves going to the parties. So, and my wallet is hurting because of it. I'm enjoying myself. Like you said, it can be a little bit overwhelming because, again, we haven't been out and amongst people, and at these parties there are so many people there, so it can be a bit overwhelming, but I am enjoying myself. I am enjoying going out and being with him. And so maybe I am kind of exploring in a form or fashion, because I've never been to these parties with a boyfriend before.
And let me ask you this question. Do you
Okay.
find that you have a give and take, like he wants to do some of these things, and
Hmm.
do you get to say, well, I want to do this also,
Oh,
and
for
let's
sure.
try both? And
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. I'm going to a birthday party on a boat this weekend, and it's one of my friends, and I'm going. It's his birthday party, and he's all about it. He's like, "Let's go, let's go on a boat." He's open to new experiences as well. We went to Mexico, and We rode a jet ski, which I had never done before, and
Love.
it was so much fun. So we're just maybe we are doing the exploratory thing as well. So I'm here for it.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
let's keep in the same topic of
Okay.
FOMO, but sexually.
Ooh.
And a
Hey.
lot of people, I'm in my hot vac summer. I'm having some fun sex here and there. If you could, well, I'll tell you where I'm coming from, and then I
Go
want you to
ahead.
talk. Sexually, for
Okay.
me, I'm in that exploratory phase, and I've
Uh-huh.
gone to a place here where I live, the New York Eagle, which is a cruise bar, and I've had some fun, sexual. I've met some people
Hmm.
and had some great sexual situations. And then
Nice.
I'll notice my phone kind of, if I do once in a while go on Scruff, I'll notice some people hitting me up. And,
Ooh.
you can't be everywhere at every moment in time. And so I feel like I'm at a point where it's nice. I'm picking and choosing, but there's been a couple times where I've had a couple situations where I knew it was going to be hot. I knew it was going to be
Hmm.
like hot sex,
Yeah.
but I turned it down because, and I
Why?
wondered, because I wasn't in that mood. It's like
Okay.
something I was binge watching. You got me in Paramount Plus, thank you very much. And I'm all
You're
on.
welcome, boo. You're welcome. But
I'm
I'm messing
all.
up your sex life now. What is it?
You're
I
messing up, or
cannot say you're welcome.
you're
I'm taking it back.
you're helping me curate my sex
Oh,
life.
true. That's a good way to look at it.
Curate.
Yeah. See, it's
And
all about perspective. Thank you. Thank you for
And
looking at it
listen,
through that
like there
lens.
was a situation the other day that I knew it was going to be hot. I knew this guy had a big hot cock, and we've been together
Ooh.
before. And I thought this could be fun. And
Hmm.
he works nearby. It was a Sunday. It was thunder and lightning, and I knew he could have come over at the right time. That would have been fun to get up on that cock and play around
All right now.
for a tried and true. You know what I'm talking about? A
Oh, I
tried
know.
and true. So it was a sure bet, but I'm sorry, my White Lotus TV show, and I think I
Which
was
I'm
waiting,
starting.
and I was waiting on this weekend that I'm about to have where I know I'm going to have some fun over in Fire Island.
All right now.
And I thought, let me curate the week out. And
Save
this
up for it.
guy, I can keep him in the mix. It's just, it doesn't have to be tonight.
Hmm.
I had a little FOMO, like, oh, should I do that? But I didn't. I released the FOMO,
Yeah.
and he was actually cool. And I said, let's meet up. Let's try and meet up next week.
Okay.
And I essentially pushed him off, is what I'm saying. But he's still open to meeting.
Okay, exactly.
He still wants some. And
Hey.
what can you tell us about, because you're in a relationship now, how does sex and FOMO work with you? Or,
I'm kind of afraid to say this out loud, but I'm going to go for it.
I'm going to repurpose this.
That's when you know that you should really say it, because I'm dating one person and living and just being a gay man, you're used to having so many options out there. So I am experiencing a little bit of FOMO. Don't tell my boyfriend.
No, I know.
As far as having random sexual encounters are concerned, trust me, I am enjoying the sex with my boyfriend. It's amazing. It's stellar. It's good to have a connection when you have sex. But a small part of me, because we haven't been dating that long, is still in the
what if
old, or even like trying to do the things that I've done before, the routine basically of having, because we would go out. We would on a Sunday evening or a Thursday evening, and we would.
And I were Thursday night. Kodi and I, for pre-pandemic, had a fun for a minute there. Didn't we have a fun Thursday night outing?
Wow! And I would go home with a different guy every single time. I don't know if you knew.
I mean, I was pretty much on the same page, and it was fun to go out with somebody that. Also, like you and I would meet up, we'd have drinks, we would have our kiki and have fun. But I never worried that if you met somebody or I met somebody, it was no big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we'd tell each other the stories, and it was all good. And so,
and then more juice for the show. Hello.
Yes. But on the other hand, it's all back to kind of what we were talking about when we were giving advice to the guy. We have everything's a choice, and everything's a different moment in time, and there are certain moments in time when you really can't always just have your cake. I shouldn't even say that, because that having your cake and eating it too, I think you really can. I think you just have to really be in the moment and appreciate what you have. And there's going to be moments where you're going to be like, oh my God, yeah, I wish I was out and about, but what I have right now, what you have right now is so good.
I want to call him right now and be like, baby, I'm coming over.
Well, let's call him. I have him listening on right now. Let's just bring him in. No, I'm kidding.
You have him on the line? Call her.
Yeah, come on in. And no, but I think I've always thought I understood that statement, and I'm processing this as we speak right now of having your cake and eat it too. Like you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I like that statement, because I think we're people that are always evolving and changing. And so it's what you are currently in. And it doesn't mean you don't think about other things, but you're so in the moment and you're so appreciating what it is right now, and that doesn't mean that can't change, or evolve. But
is a perfect word for it, because who knows what we will decide our relationship will be in the future. Right now, we're monogamous, and I'm having a wonderful time. I love just being with one person. But who knows, down the road, we might open up our relationship and then close it back and open it back up, and what that could mean for us in the future. So. Yeah.
The one thing that I wanted to circle back to when we started this about, I asked you the question, do you think that FOMO is a little more heightened in our community? And the reason I think I thought about that is because we know our community a lot. We have parties to go to. There's so many choices, and we're the first to travel more than I would argue, and sometimes more than our hetero groups.
Hello, disposable income. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And we have a lot of friends that will say, oh my God, were you at this party? For example, there was a party here in New York City. I think it was during your birthday weekend. Yeah. And it's called the Pines Party in Fire Island.
Yes.
And I cannot tell you how many people were like, are you going to the Pines Party? Are you going to and all kinds of people, not even just the people that I would normally, the circuit type friends that I have. It was couples that I would run into, and it was like, are you going to the Pines Party? Pines Party. It was like, everything was like Pines Party, Pines Party. Yeah. Even some of my straight friends were asking me, are you going to the Pines Party? That's how you know it's like, oh, and I'm like, no, I am not going to the Pines party. I'm
Let's
not.
go.
But went to your party and we had so much fun. I think it was the same weekend,
Yeah,
and
it's
I
during my
think that
birthday weekend. So
yeah, and
next
so
year,
we could go next year. I
you book
just
the
think,
house.
oh, you okay? I'm looking it up right now as we speak on
Oh, okay. Look at you.
Airbnb.
You are Mr. On it today
I
as far
am
as
like
research
multitasker.
is
I have somebody down
concerned.
here
R
who's
and
doing another
D.
deed. Anyways, all right. Well, FOMO's a real thing. It doesn't. I don't. I think it's a term that probably has been around forever. It doesn't sound. We want to hear from you though. Let us
Yeah.
know if you've experienced FOMO sexually in our gay community. Just let us know. We're kind of curious, and we'll follow up on it.
Yeah.
But hey guys, your buddy Steve V here, host of Tags Podcast, and I was just thinking about the time I was in the bathtub dating this guy, asking him to shave my ass, and let me tell you, he was all about it. But when he was going down with the disposable blade, I was so freaked out. Like, what did I get myself into? It was so creepy, and I was so fearful that I had to stop the whole thing the minute I felt a nick. Oh my gosh. Well, now there is something out there that I don't even need somebody to do for me. I can do on my own. Are you ready for an out-of-the-world experience, guys? Well, you have to look no further than the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped that has just taken off in not only the USA, but Canada, the UK, across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. And inside the package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance Boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your whole solar system. First scheduled for liftoff, new Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. This spaceship is here to guide you on a journey to trim your body, balls, butt like I did, and even your anus. That's what I'm talking about. This fourth generation trimmer also features cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 4000K LED spotlight you can turn on and off when needed for more precise shaving throughout your travels across the universe. And this Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker. It's kind of like having a little astronaut to chop your worst weeds up top in your nose and ear. The Weed Whacker is also waterproofed, and this nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which also helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. Don't forget about the Crop Preserver ball deodorant and the Crop Reviver to help your little planets be on their A-games while feeling the sun's heat. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts from their Performance Package 4.0. I'm talking about the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Ready, guys? You can get 20% off plus free shipping by using our code here, TAGS, TAGS, by going to manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code TAGS at manscaped.com. For a clean trinity and beyond, your spaceballs will thank you. We've got to move on to the rest of our hot sex topics, and we are back to advice, giving some advice. And someone wrote into me, emailed me actually, this question. And again, you know, I love when you guys write in and ask for us to weigh in on sex and relationship advice. Just keep in mind, if you don't give us that much to work with, in other words, if it's kind of general, we'll do our best. But the more details you can give us, and just keep in mind you can be anonymous. Will help us give you a little bit more thorough answer or advice.
Sure.
So somebody wrote in, emailed us on our website, TAGSPodcast.com. Any advice on coming out as non-binary and how to do it coming out? In other words, this person's bi and they feel like coming out as bi was easier than coming out as non-binary. So how do you
Mhm.
come out as non-binary? And just to give everybody, we were talking about this recently, was looking up some information on just some, I guess, definitions of
Yeah.
what non-binary means. I got this from a reliable source. Most people, including most transgender people, are either male or female, but some people don't neatly fit into categories of man or woman or male or female. So, for
Mhm.
example, some people have a gender that blends elements of being a man or a woman, or a
Mhm.
gender that is different than either male or female. And some people don't identify with any gender. Some people's gender changes over time. And I like that last part because it means it, like we were talking about in the last segment, fluidity. Things
Yeah.
can change. And I think that's a key thing that I'm picking up on in a lot of our topics that as we continue on with this show. They
Mhm.
also write people whose gender is not male or female use many different terms to describe themselves, with non-binary being one of the most common. And other terms they throw out are gender queer, agender, bigender. And why they write on this non-binary? Well, some societies like ours tend to recognize just two genders, hence the word binary.
Mhm.
So, therefore, non binary is one term people use to describe genders that don't fall into one of these two categories, male or female. And there was some really good things that this other article, I know you read it too.
Yep.
There's some basic facts. Did you have that up on your screen,
I
Kodi, that you
do.
could read
Uh-huh.
some? Just read a couple of those and then we'll get into the advice.
So some basic facts are non-binary people are nothing new. They have Non-binary people aren't confused about their gender identity or following a new fad. Non-binary identities have been recognized for millennia by cultures and societies around the world. Some, but not all non-binary people undergo medical procedures to make their bodies more congruent with their gender identity. Another one is most transgender people are not non-binary, while some are non-binary. Most transgender people have an identity that is either male or female and should be treated like any other man or woman. And lastly, being non-binary is not the same thing as being intersex. Intersex is people who have anatomy or genes that don't fit typical definitions of male and female. Most intersex people identify as either men or women, and non-binary people are usually not intersex. They're usually born with bodies that may fit typical definitions of male and female, but their innate gender identity is something other than male or female. I just had a flashback of reading in class. And I got
I love
really
it. Good
nervous.
job, Kodi. Good reading.
Thank
You know
you.
what strikes me on all of this, and I'm glad we read all that just to have a little bit more, is the person actually is writing how to come out as non-binary. And the
Mhm.
first thing that comes to mind is you can do it in a social media way right now. We recently were talking about this, and you can do it subtly in your social media. And so if
Mhm.
you, for example, on Instagram, you can say your name and how you want to be
Your
referred to
pronouns.
as
Yes.
they, he, him, they, she, her, just they, them. You can
Yes.
do it. And if you're a social media person, you can start by coming out that way, where if so many people are communicating through social media, through your social media, and
Mhm.
put that in your description in a way that is a communication platform that is going to reach people that follow you. And
Mhm.
it's a subtle and a not subtle way of
Yeah.
telling people how you want to be um
Referred to.
communicated,
Yeah.
preferred to.
Yeah.
You can also, we had somebody else on the show recently, is you can ask other people, how do you prefer to be identified as? And that will then provoke them, the other person, hopefully, to, well, how do you prefer to be identified
Mhm.
with? Because there was a whole thing I was reading recently where saying, what do you mean? It's like, well, do you prefer to be called he, him? And you just gotta, like, we're in an educational transitional mode, as we
It's
keep
true.
talking about on this show, and use this time in a great way to educate people. And if it's evolving for you, that's a beautiful time to even share that
Yeah.
I'm currently, it's a beautiful time, I think, to share. And the last thing I want to say is thanks to you, Kodi. You got me onto Paramount Plus, and I'm watching the RuPaul Drag Race uh All Stars season 6.
Are you gonna say
And
what I
there,
think you're gonna say?
well, there's a character on there, Sonique. What's the full name?
Kylie Sonique Love,
Kylie.
who I adore. Anybody named Kylie,
It's a
basically.
good example of a show, and it's not the first of a contestant that is transgender. There's also the last season, Got Mick, was
Love them too.
transgender, and it's a show that started out so many years ago that was all about drag queens that
Yeah.
has evolved through the times to include the transgender community. And I think Kylie Sonique is such a good example of somebody that's playing with it, like we're seeing it in real time, her
Yeah.
experience as a transgender person who's also on RuPaul's Drag Race as a
Mhm.
contestant, that shares little bits. And so I think if nothing else, don't be afraid, but this is kind of an exciting time to express yourself.
It is.
And although you may not be going on RuPaul's Drag Race, but you have I'm assuming, a platform, and it's, you can do subtle things by sharing in your way who you want to be identified with to your followers.
Yeah.
And then your community, you can start to share that, and you'll know the people that are there for you, that have your back with that. And it's an exploratory, exciting time. What were your thoughts when you heard this statement and how to come out as non-binary?
First and foremost, I want to say that the main theme of all my advice is going to be you as a person don't owe anybody anything. So just make sure that you're comfortable and you feel safe to come out when you finally do decide to come out. That's point blank period. That's the first step. Also, if you don't want to answer any questions about what non-binary means or what it is to you, tell them to go read a book. It's just
Yeah.
as simple as that. And make sure that you speak from the heart if you do decide that you do want to answer any questions, because you can't really go wrong if you speak from the heart.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people. You could tell people to read a book. You can use back to the. I don't know why. Maybe because they listened to the show, they wrote
Mhm.
into us.
Mhm.
We have a lot of people that use their social media platforms to kind of educate. I can think of a lot of people that I follow that inevitably, when I'm scrolling through, it's an educational moment about
Yeah.
something that is about their life that maybe I didn't know. And I read a lot of things that you put out there on your
Uh-huh.
stories. You
Aw.
can follow Kodi at Mr. Maurice on Instagram. And it's
That's me.
there, you can do, if you want to come out and you want to share to your world and those followers that follow you, you
Mhm.
can use it as an opportunity to explore,
Very true.
educate, tell a little bit more about your transition, the, where you're at currently,
Yeah.
and always know that nothing is finite and final. That we talked a little bit about it before. It's evolving. So
That's
this could, yeah,
Oh, okay. Sorry.
yeah, no,
I just think get really clear about where your line is as far as like what you want to share and how far you want to go with people, because I there are going to be questions, no doubt about it, but
yeah.
just get really clear with where your line is, because after when you know where that line is for you, then you won't go beyond it and you won't compromise yourself. So that's my
And like
advice.
like you said, you don't owe anybody anything. It could be
Exactly.
your journey without. So you can, coming out process as non-binary can happen if you even want it to, when it's right for you. And I like that you said
Exactly.
that. So I hope we shed a little bit of light on that, for you. But write back to us and let us know how you're doing on that.
Please.
And of course, you can always ask us to weigh in. DM us on Instagram at TAGSPodcast, and we are here for you. Well, Kodi, we've got to move on, but have you ever had a teacher that you had a crush on, or somebody of power, or not power, but
Ooh, Barack Obama.
yeah, okay, yes, exactly. There is a teacher. I'm going to put him up on TAGSPodcast.com. And this teacher they write on Instinct magazine makes us want to study more. It's easy to see why we chose Gabe on Instinct magazine as this week's hottie of the week. He's hunky, handsome, sweet, kind, and humble. Gabe is the full package. Add to this his
He's
career
really
and
cute.
goals of inspiring and empowering the next generation. And Gabe is pretty much, according to them, a perfect man you will find. He was born in Louisville, Kentucky, moved to the south suburbs of Chicago. As a kid, after finishing high school, he went to college and is now a middle school math teacher who currently lives in Chicago and claims it is the best city in the world. And some of his favorite things to do are volleyball, country concerts, attempt to cook a good meal, on and on. He's really cute. I'll post this on TAGSPodcast.com. And it got me thinking, because when I was in high school, he's a math teacher. And when I was in high school in my private Catholic school, I had a math teacher that every time, he was so cute, he was also the swim teacher for the swim team. And it almost made me, I was doing too many things. I was on a separate gymnastic team. I was on the track and field team. But if I could have, I would have, for him, gone on the swim team. But every time I would go
into keto,
yes, and every time I would go into algebra, he would greet me, and I was always going with my friend Renee. And he would say, "Mr. Rodriguez, another nice sweater we're wearing."
Would he say it like that? Oh my
God. He almost would.
Sexy.
Yeah. And I would be like, "Oh, thank you." And bat my eyes. And I really tried really hard in that math class because I was so attracted to him. And he had a great way of teaching, though.
Aww.
Well, cut to college, where we must have exchanged numbers, because in college, I was now 19 or 20. We actually hooked up again and went on a date, a proper date.
What?
Like an ice cream date. And we did get a little frisky, but it never moved on from that. But it was my high school math teacher. And so I can see you might want to do better I was inspired to do better in math, even though I'm not Mr. Math here, when you're attracted to your teacher. And I ask you, Kodi, have you ever been attracted to a leader, a teacher, a camp counselor, perhaps?
My gosh. So yes, my first crush when I was maybe like 14, 15 was a camp counselor. He would always look down my shirt. This is going to sound really creepy now.
Now that you're thinking about it.
Because he was like 20. And he would look down my shirt and say, "Oh my gosh, your back is so hairy." And I would always be like, just like you. And another one was my social studies teacher. And he wasn't even my type or conventionally attractive. I use air quotes when I use conventionally attractive, but he was just so smart and so erudite, and just he spoke so well, and he was just lovely, and he was a great human being. And
erudite. Define and spell and use in a sentence.
You want me to really spell? I got it. ERUDITE, erudite, and it means learned and it means scholarly. Thank you very
Kodi.
much.
You're a very good student.
SAT word, honey.
Word. I'm just checking your skills.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. And I was really just attracted to his mind more so than anything else, because I think he was super straight. But maybe he's the wrestling coach. I don't remember. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. He's a social studies teacher, and he was adorable.
You know, I do think there is something to be said about being attracted to leaders when you're learning something. And it doesn't always have to be a physical thing. It can be like the mind. I've had several professors throughout the years or teachers that I think you almost have to like the person that's teaching you.
It's true.
Sometimes there could be the school of hard knocks too. I have a boss that I learned a lot from her, and she was school of hard knocks. I mean,
Really?
yes, it was everything. She taught me, and actually, I love it because I've carried over a lot of the things that she does, like
Mhm.
little things, like every email must be all caps, and
Oh, she was very
on
hard.
and reread every. But you need to be inspired in some way, whether it's school of hard knocks, you're physically attracted to them, you are attracted
That
to
one is
their
always the best for
mind. That's you can't be overly attracted to them because you don't
Then you
want to
can't
get
focus.
no. So it's a fine line, but there should be something. I think what it all comes down to is if you're a leader, a teacher, a camp counselor, or
Mhm.
whatever it is,
Right.
you have to be engaging in a way that can reach not just you right here, but the people out here. And in my mind, I've got an arena of people looking at me right now, and I'm reaching that person over there. I'm kidding right now, but
I know you are. No,
you
you're
know what
not.
I'm
But you're
saying.
not kidding right now, honestly. You mean every word, and that's
You got to
okay.
get the people in the back.
That's right, honey.
Because, yeah, they might be the ones that have the big. Anyway, but yeah. So we've got to move on to our last and final. If you're listening to this on Thursday, it's our Thursday Thirst Trap recap in the house right now. And I haven't had a chance to look at this, so I'm going to give Kodi. It's our favorite segment to do where
It's
we
my favorite.
descriptively describe based on straight up gay porn's weekly roundup. And this week they did a thirst trap recap of 25 gay porn stars who and asked the question, who took the best photo or video? And it's our job, because we're an audio podcast, to descriptively describe why. But you can also go to TAGSPodcast.com and weigh in the conversation. We want to hear from you. But Kodi, tell us, who got your thirst trap Thursday?
First, I have to say there were so many hotties on this list. Colton Reese is so beautiful, and John Bronco is I've thirsted after him for such a long time. He just turns around and his ass is right there in your face, and it's just my mouth is watering. Oh my gosh, hold on one second, I gotta get a towel. But my top spot, pun intended, would have to go to Kylan Kiddo, Jay Seabrook, and Zane Alexander. It's a video, and in the video, Jay is pounding Zane from behind. So they're laying down, and Jay is pounding Zane. And while this action is going down, both men are worshiping and sucking the cock of Kylan. And it is just so hot. I watched it like 8 times. So and I love watching a good 3-way moment. And this one is just so hot. It's so hot.
You're right. This week's like insanity.
It's
There's
so good,
way, right? I'm going through it right now, and there's like far too many. It's like Nutsville here. Go to TAGSPodcast.com and weigh in. Episode 289. From shout out to a duo that's been on Tags Live.
They're so cute.
Jacob and Harley. If you remember, we had them on as guests, and they were so awesome and lovely. They write on theirs, had dick for lunch, and is it Jacob who has the big one?
Of the day.
Yeah. Oh my god. I think so. Yeah. It's so hot with the other one like sucking on it. It's so amazing.
Oh, yeah.
There's way too many of them, but there's a lot of guys on here. I think mine came down to the ones that were video based. There's one Zaddy Zick.
Oh, I saw that one
who writes, "It's my boner. I can come if I want to," and it's like the largest one. And there's something to be said about a guy that's pleasing himself, that is going for it, and it's huge. He has a beautiful hairy chest, and he's going bananas over the cum shot. That shout out to Zaddy Zick with the beard, the hairy chest, the huge dick, and going berserk as he comes. And Christian Styles at Christian _ style says, "Imagine that come down your throat." And
I didn't even watch that one. I gotta watch that one now.
He is so beautiful and has hairy, beautiful, thick legs. and has a black tank top on in a leather chair, is coming so much on the black tank top so you can really see it, is vocal with it. And I just want to get that tank top from him and cherish it, never wash it. That's how nasty as I am.
He's probably selling it, so you could probably get it.
I
If you really
probably
want.
for a small or a fee.
Small nominal fee.
Oh my God. Well, this has been so much fun. We have got to wrap this up. Thank you. Next week, you guys tune in because it is our 1 year anniversary of Tags Live. Kodi and I have been doing this 1 year, and it's all happening next week. And we'll hopefully have some surprises for you. But if nothing else, we're going to be celebrating doing this show, which I've just come to love so much, and more to come on that. But tune in next Wednesday. Lots to happen on that. You can follow Kodi, though, at Mr. Maurice on Instagram, or he's a life coach. Follow him at KMD Coaching.
Yes.
In the meantime, though, follow us on Tags Podcast. And thanks, Kodi. So much fun.
Thank you, darling. It's always a fun time with you.
Always. In the meantime, continue having hot, gay sex.
Yes.
Yes. Hey, Tags listeners. Craving for more tags? Hungry like I am? Well, now you can unlock exclusive Tags content. I'm talking about our weekly Tags After Show and our twice monthly Dark and Dirty Show. Now you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. You'll get a notice each week when new episodes are dropped exclusively for you. So what are you getting from this exclusive content? Well, you're getting a weekly Tags After Show where the conversation continues with hot gay sex topics in a more relaxed, behind-the-scenes, more intimate format. Our twice monthly Dark and Dirty Show will often feature special guests like my co-hosts, but gets a little darker and a little dirtier as we reveal our sexcapades to your exclusive ears. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe now to unlock exclusive Tags content and know that you'll be supporting Tags Podcast to continue delivering the quality of Tags Podcast you've come to love. You can unlock this exclusive content by going to TAGSPodcast.com and click on the link Tags After Show. Thanks for being a supporter and continue having hot gay sex.